Welcome back, Sunday morning sports update on this cold, wintry Sunday morning. I am your host, Gaylan Floyd, as always. The Davis Cup concluded last night or early this morning, depending on how you look at it. And a Davis Cup tie between the United States and Switzerland. You'd have to think Roger Federer, no Andy Roddick for the Americans. Who's going to win that? Wrong. Not only did the Americans win, they won 3-love. Last night or this morning, I'm not sure where they played. Welcome back to your Sunday morning sports update. I'm Gaylan Floyd. United States swept Switzerland in Davis Cup action. No Andy Roddick. But Switzerland with Roger Federer, motivated Roger Federer, talking about playing in the Olympics in London, didn't get it done. He lost his first match against John Isner in 4 sets, and then lost in doubles yesterday to a team of, I think, one of the Bryan brothers. I don't know what the other one is. One of the greatest American Davis Cup teams in history. And Marty Fish beat him. So they're, I think, dropped down to the losers bracket. America keeps moving. Jim Courier getting it done, moving on, finishing the job that Patrick McEnroe started. And college basketball, number 1, Kentucky escaped over Vanderbilt. They'll hang on to that number 1 spot and pretty much have locked up the number 1 seed going into March Madness. Whereas our Ohio State Buckeyes, number 3 in the country, will drop back after losing at home, snapping a 39-game home winning streak. And it wasn't even really close. Michigan State just slowed the game down, shut down the outside shooting for Ohio State, limited the touches, and really got physical with Jared Sullinger in the paint. He frustrated him, and from that point on, I think Ohio State got within 6 in the second half and numerous times, but never really could mount a charge. You know what? I was watching coverage. It was you channel surf around a lot, and on the TV like yesterday afternoon there was rugby from Vegas, and it occurred to me that rugby is just a glorified version, an organized version of what I played as a child. I'm from Kent. In Kent, Ohio, a game we would play on the playground at recess in elementary school called Smear the Queer. I didn't come up with the name. Somebody else came up with the name, but that's what it was called. And it was like rugby, just without referees, and there was no scoring. Smear the Queer involved a football. And if you didn't have a football, you just need some kind of bigger ball. One of those rubbery, spongy balls would work, but preferably a football. Nerf ball would work perfectly. And someone would throw the football up in the air, and someone with guts and intestinal fortitude would go after the ball, and you'd run around the field with a bunch of kids chasing you, and when they caught up to you and was jumping on you, piling up on you, ready to kill you, smear you, you just throw the ball up, and the next guy would go and grab it and run. Yeah, there was no end zone. There was no scoring opportunity. You just kind of ran until someone caught you, ran out of breath, and they caught you, and everyone's going to pile up on you. You would throw it up in the air, and the next guy would get it. That's what rugby is. We invented rugby in Kent. We should get some kind of credit. I don't know how long rugby's been around. If you want to say it was started in Australia, fine. I'll give you that. But the American version was started in Kent, Ohio, in the fields of Holden Elementary School, my friends. If you get a chance to check that out, I watched more rugby yesterday than I've ever watched in my life. And it's kind of interesting. It's like soccer mixed with football, mixed with Smear the Queer. This might be the week we find out the future of Peyton Manning, the greatest quarterback in the last 15 years. Pure quarterback. Not to be mistaken for the greatest winner. The greatest winner, arguably, you'd have to say is Tom Brady. He's got 3 rings. He's been there 5 times. Ben Roethlisberger's been there 3 times, but he's going to come away with 2 rings. Eli's got 2 rings. As far as a winning quarterback in the past 15 years, you've got to go with Tom Brady. But Peyton Manning, you could argue the case. He's in the top 3 to 5 quarterbacks of all time. He's got a ring. Forget the rings for a second. People always sleep on Dan Marino. Dan Marino was a hell of a quarterback. One of the greatest pure passers in the world that history has ever known. But because he doesn't have a ring, he gets knocked down to like the second 5 of top 10 quarterbacks, which is not fair because if you're not old enough or if you don't remember watching Dan Marino play, Dan could ball his ass off. Was a baller and a fierce leader. That's what I think quarterbacking is missing, except for your Tom Brady's. It's guys who get mad in the huddle when dudes drop passes. If those 2 receivers would have dropped passes for Dan Marino, he played from the opening snap. His face mask, his helmet was like too small because Dan Marino has a big head anyway, and he had like big curly hair back when he played. When he put the helmet on, it smashed his brow down, so he looked like the Incredible Hulk when David Banner would turn into the Hulk. He always had a scowl on his face anyway. Then he starts sweating, and his face would be red throughout the game. And if you dropped a pass or ran the wrong route, he would look. The camera was always zoomed in on Dan Marino anyway. And you see the look on his face, and you come back to that huddle, it's like you're getting chewed out by your head coach. Because Dan will let you know you screwed up. You ran the wrong route. What's wrong with you? And he will be pissed. And he'll let you know it. That's what I think. I don't know if it would have helped Tom Brady in that Super Bowl or not. But catches guys got to make. There was that catch that Welker dropped, a hard catch. Hell yes. He jumped in the air, corkscrewed around. The ball came out of his hands. But we're taught from Pee Wee football, and I say this all the time. If you get your hands on the ball, you got to make that catch. You got to catch the ball. Now, if you get one hand on it, all right, I can let that go. But if you get 2 hands on that ball, you got to make that catch, baby. You got to. And how close was that Hail Mary? Too close. So why wasn't Ocho Cinco in there? If I'm not mistaken, he wasn't in on that play. Wouldn't a healthy Ocho Cinco been better than Rob Gronkowski, an injured Rob Gronkowski down there in the end zone? Granted, he almost came up with the ball. Maybe if Ocho Cinco was in there, he does come up with the ball because he's healthy. Maybe he doesn't run routes the way Belichick wants him to run it. He doesn't understand the system. What system do you need to understand to run straight down the field? I'm going to throw the ball up, you jump up and catch it. Maybe it's just me. LeBron. Did you see this controversy with LeBron and the Larry Bird controversy? I saw the interview with Larry Bird in its entirety. Not, as far as I know, it wasn't edited. The way it's being reported is Larry Bird took a jab at LeBron. He didn't take a jab. What he said was, when asked a question, I think it was like, who would you rather play with right now in the NBA? He said Kobe. Kobe is the greatest. If you want to win, you'll play with Kobe because Kobe wants to win, 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 and win. That's all Larry Bird was about, was winning. Larry Bird was the kind of guy who would go outside in the snow, like right now, wind blowing, because he had no video games. His family didn't have money. But he knew somewhere there was another kid, maybe in Michigan, shooting baskets outside at the same time. Why do we lack in greatness in tennis? Why do we lack in greatness in certain sports right now? There's too much going on for kids. No one's dedicated to winning. Larry Bird said, if I wanted to have fun, I'd play with LeBron. I'm not saying he's not a winner, but the work ethic and the will to win that Kobe has is second to none. I haven't seen anybody like that since Michael Jordan. That's what he said. That's a fact. Kobe doesn't take an off season to make commercials. Kobe doesn't take an off season to have surgery. Kobe doesn't take an off season to host Saturday Night Live. Kobe doesn't do all the other things that LeBron does, that Dwayne Wade does, that Carmelo Anthony does. Kobe, from the time the season's over, he takes a little time to heal himself. He's back in the gym working on turnaround jumpers, flying to Germany to get a procedure where they suck out the blood in your injured extremity, spin it around, and inject it back to promote healing. Kobe plays with a jacked up tendon finger. Kobe plays with a wrist. He has to take an injection in before every game to play. There is no better competitor, no one who has more of a will to win in the NBA right now than Kobe Bryant. That's not a knock against LeBron. If you want to have fun, did you see those Cavs teams when LeBron was here? Did you see another team that had more fun on the sideline than that team? All of this and the posing and snapshots, they had fun. You want to have fun? LeBron's always smiling and having fun on the court to this day. We saw in the playoffs last year when it looked like the one game that they ended up losing, Dwayne Wade scores a couple of baskets in a row. The crowd's into it. He comes off the court. LeBron's punching him in the chest like a couple of combinations. LeBron is a guy you want to have fun with and play with. It doesn't make him a loser, but he's got a whole hand, no rings. Kobe has 5, working on 6. Running out of time, however. So LeBron gives an interview saying, you know what, it's easy to take a swipe at me. Anything that happens in life, blame it on LeBron. They don't have the kind of milk you like in the grocery store, blame it on LeBron. You're the kind of you cut with a cartoon you want to watch is not on today, blame it on LeBron. It was actually funny. And he said it tongue in cheek, but I'm sure it got to him a little bit because that's the way it's being reported. Media have a way of putting a slant on things, taking it out of context. Listen, go online. I found it on ESPN.com. Go online, and I think it was Bill Simmons did the interview. You can hear it in its entirety. He did not single out LeBron and say, you know what, this guy is a loser. He didn't. He said, if I want to win, I'm going with Kobe. I want to have fun, I'm going with LeBron. Until LeBron can show me that he can win a championship, what are you going to do? What time is it? 10:12. We'll take a break. I'll come back, and we'll wrap this up. I'm Gaylan. Sunday morning. Didn't take me long to get here. The road conditions were good, but it's been snowing on and off here in North Canton. So if you're out there, if you have to go out, be careful driving. We'll take a break, and I'll come back and close up shop. I am your Sunday morning sports host.